All right, good enough. Here we are. What's the date today? Is this the 20th, I think?
Yes,
20.
Yes.
Yeah, we're September 20th,
23.
2023. Here with Carmen Boccia and Bob Webster. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Howdy.
Okay, listen, I'm just going to let you go here. I just, go ahead and continue.
Well, we just met, and we're getting to, we know some people in common here, and that's how we got onto this story. But Rick, who was in the story, who saw the UFO, his dad and my dad were friends. We met each other. I was 5 years old. Our dads played ball, and our dads were out playing ball together, and we were off throwing dirt or telling stories or just having a good time. So that's how I got to know Rick. And so then I was 15. No, I was 16. Rick was going to Columbus to play American Legion baseball.
Yeah.
It was 16, 17, 18-year-olds, and I was 15, and Rick's dad told me to come on over, that I could make the team, and so we went over there, and Rick and I were both pretty good pitchers, so we made the team. Then they found out I was too young, but they said I made the cut, so I got to stay over there. So that was part of our story. Rick and I went to high school together. Like I said, we were real good friends from the age of 5. We looked forward to going to ball games and hanging out with each other, and so that's how Rick and I got to know each other. And we were both going to be major league ball players, and so I was going to be for the Yankees, he's going to be for the Cardinals, and we were going to meet up every year in the World Series and play each other. So didn't quite make it,
You're a
but
tight guy. What are you, 6'4"?
6'5".
6'5", and
Yeah.
well, that's good for a pitcher.
Yeah. We both went to college. We went to Parsons, JUCO at the time. Rick and I were good friends, and Rick was always a better pitcher because he was older than me, but I started getting real good, and I became a torment to him because I was pushing him a little harder than what he wanted me to push him. He went out and threw a no-hitter up there and thought he was the cat's meow, and a week later I threw one. So he was mad at me then for catching up with him again. But anyway, his dad took me over to Columbus, and we played baseball, and we were just real good friends all of our lives. And so that's a little bit about me and Rick.
Well, Rick's dad, Bob, and I worked together. We were both electricians at P&M Coal Company, and our families were young about that time, and we came to Oswego pretty regularly, and our families mixed back and forth, and we'd go to the park out there and different things. And then getting up to the incident, I was an electrician at P&M Coal Company, and I got a call out one night. It was evening or night. It was getting on anyway. And said, Brutus doesn't have any power. So I went out there and chased it down, and it turned out it was a 69,000 volt fuse on the high voltage line. This 69,000 fed into our transformer, and our transformer was 69,000 to 7,200. And so Bob and I communicated about what had happened the day before, night before. If we got call-outs, he was an electrician at the preparation plant, and I was a pit electrician. And I met him that morning, and I said, I got a call-out last night. I said, lost power at Brutus. I said it was a 69,000 volt fuse that blew. He said, well, that's odd. That was the first word out of his mouth, And then he proceeded to tell me about the incident you guys had,
Yeah.
And I don't know what I thought. I'm a great believer in UFOs and stuff, but I don't know exactly what I thought. But I don't think I pushed it very far. And years went by, and it might have been even after Bob died that I seen Rick, or if I'd seen him in between, it was where we didn't have a chance to talk. And so one day out at Brutus, we was having some kind of event, and he showed up there. And So I said, say, there's something I've been wanting to talk to you about. I said, a long time ago, I couldn't remember exactly when it was, and told him about the fuse deal and everything, and said, you guys had seen a UFO. I mean, his face just dropped. I knew right then that he wasn't feeding me a line of bull, you know. I could tell by his body language, you know, this is going to be what he believes, you know. And he told me about the incident, and to chase it on down further, then I hadn't seen him for a long time again, and a mutual friend of ours' son had died, and they were having the memorial out here at the park in Oswego. And so I came to that. I didn't see him during the memorial, but after I seen that he was there, and I said, this is where it happened, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And he started pointing out, you know, different things. And, well, that's nice, you know. And then maybe 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I went to the Eagles in West Mineral, and I met a mutual friend of theirs and ours. I don't even remember who it was. And I said, I got to see Rick Weiss a short time ago. They said, well, he died, you know. And oh man, he. So
that wasn't that long after you.
No, that wasn't long after I seen him, you know. And he told me that he had cancer. I wasn't aware of that at the time. He certainly looked healthy to me, you know. And so I don't. All these are coincidences, I guess, you know. It's
So you were there that night. You were in the car, 3 of you guys, huh?
Yes, it was after a basketball game. We'd ride around town. In the summertime, you see, we got parking in the middle of the road. And summertime, we might have 20 cars, you know. And the cops would come down there every now and then and run us off. I said, you got all the ornery guys in one spot. You can watch us, you know, just park down the road and you got us all. You know, we're not doing anything. But anyway, we'd ride around after games. And so that was November of 1970. I was a junior, Rick and Terry. Terry Fisher was the other guy amongst the three of us. They were both seniors, so I rode in the back seat, 56 Chevy, blue and white, Rick's car, he was driving. And we were just riding around, who knows why at all. And
well, that was a question that came up when I was telling this story to somebody else, and it occurred to me too. What were you guys doing? Were you smoking pot, or were you drinking, or what was going on? What were you just driving around? And that's what kids do. They just drive around.
Yeah.
I was happy when I had a car. I just drove around.
But gas was what? 32 cents a gallon. You know.
Yeah, I remember
we drove all the time. Yeah. I was a Christian. I was dedicated to my athletic career. I worked out. Rick and Terry, they didn't mind drinking a little bit at times. I don't know if they were drinking that night. I kind of think they weren't. But after the encounter, Rick would go out and tell everyone, look, we all saw this, and Bob was with us. You know, he doesn't drink, you know. So I was the one that verified this story because of the fact I didn't drink. But
so you were the authoritative figure in that. Yes.
I was also the substitute driver in cases.
When necessary.
Yes.
From start to finish of the incident, and when you lost the UFO, how much time would you think elapsed?
It could have been up to 15 minutes. We'll go down the road later on, I'll show you, but we were riding around. I'm going to say around 11 o'clock, because we hung out after game till up to midnight. And we were going down the highway towards the east side of Oswego, and I heard Rick and Terry say, well, that can't be no plane. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I look out there. At that time, the light is horizontal going north. I thought, it looks like a plane to me. But then all of a sudden, that thing just went straight down. And we all, whoa! Nothing flies like that. Well, even if it's a helicopter, it has a slant to it, you know. And so we're like, wow. So I'll show you later on. We went out to where is Butch's. Used to be Butch's store out there, right above the hill east of Oswego. We stopped in the parking lot. We watched it. And I can't remember if we left the car running or if we got out. We were aware that we couldn't hear anything. And this thing, to me, everything I remembered was 90 degrees. It would go here and then up straight, back, down, over. Everything was, there was no slope, no glide. It was just level flight. One time it went boom. I mean, it went so fast we thought, that it's over there now. And it was just so quick that we're like, there was no explanation for it, So we decided to go out to the park to look at it, and but we went out to the park. The east side of the park, there was trees, so we went to another little spot and a little circle drive, and that's where the rest of the encounter took place, which was pretty eye-opening.
You're talking about at the park.
Well, we were on our way to the park, but instead we went east. Where the grade school is, we went east just on the north side of the grade school, and back then, pardon me, but we used to call it Snob Hill. Several well-to-do people in town were building some nice houses out there, and at the far end they just put a little circle drive, but there was no houses there, and I can't remember if there was a light even there or not, but we went that little circle drive, and that's where we parked just to watch it. At that point, Rick turned the car off. We all got out of the car, and I think one or two of us were even laying on the hood, just watching this thing. And wasn't a sound. Could not hear a thing. And in between that time there, that's east, that's south, and all of a sudden it got up about this angle and just went straight across, a little farther than south, about this direction. And I'll describe it, what turned out to be. It was triangular shaped with a dome light under the bottom. So at night, all we could see was the light. And when it got off in this direction, it just stopped. We go, look at that thing, it's just sitting there. Well, what we didn't know was it was moving straight at us. And
Toward you?
it's straight at us, yeah,
Wow.
towards our car. And
Was some sort of a maneuver to actually get in a position where it could move at you without seeing? Were you seeing or being able to tell it was moving towards you?
it stayed flat. I'll go ahead and give a description of it. My description is, now these are guesses, it was triangular shaped, metallic, had rounded corners. Now we only saw the bottom. I don't know how deep it was. All I could see was the bottom. And in each one of the rounded corners was a recessed light. So I had 4 lights altogether, the dome light, recessed light in each corner. Now Rick and Terry, I'm colorblind. They said each light was a different color. They were lights to me. So if my hand is a UFO, we're sitting here, that thing came in, and then all of a sudden, a 45-degree angle, I'm saying 40, 50 foot away. It's hard to say because I'm not for sure what size. If the sides of this thing was 30 foot, 30-foot sides, then I'd say it's 40 to 50 foot above us, and it flattened out so we could see the whole bottom, and we didn't look very long. We jumped in the car, and Rick took off, and I remember we drove under. I was in the back seat, looking out the back window, watching that thing over us, waiting for it to suck us up or something. I don't know what I was going to do, but we were getting out of there, and we went south, and I'll show you where Terry lives, because when we were going east out of Oswego, before we saw it, Terry says, "I'm ready to go home." All right, we'll drop you off. And then when we saw it, we saw that. Then we went down, we saw it out there, and saw it come over us. On the way back, Rick's driving by his house, and Terry says, "Don't drop me off, don't drop me off." Keep going. And Rick went up to the highway, and Rick turned east to leave town. And Terry, "Oh my, no!" You know, he was yelling, "You're not leaving town," and I kind of agreed with him. So we came back uptown. Well, we lost it. It went north of us at that time. So we drove up and down the highway and around town and didn't see anything. And what did we see? You know, we were just going over all of our notes, and we all had the same thing. They were talking about the different colors. But we decided to go back out there, and we were going by Terry's house one more time. And is this going to be loud?
Yeah, just let him go on by.
Okay.
We'll edit this out, right?
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
Famous last words.
Ah.
Alright, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so we went back, and we were kind of thinking about taking Terry home, but we went out there and said, let's drive out by the bluff one more time and see if it's out north of town. And I don't know where we were, but all of a sudden that thing rose straight up. It had obviously been over the bluff.
That's what Rick told me about it rising straight up.
Yes.
And the way I got it, it was out of the riverbed. Would that be true?
Well, it could have been. I mean, I can't remember even if we got in the park or if we were north of the football field or south of the football field when that thing just rose up. But it came up from the bluff area, and there it was above us, and boy, we just whipped a U-turn and took off. And that was the last we saw it. Now, I talked to several classmates, and yeah, they thought, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, what are you guys smoking, right?
Yeah. We didn't think you'd do that, Bob. But Rick and Terry, one of them claimed they found two classmates that saw a light doing what they saw. Now, they didn't see anything like what we saw, but...
So there is possibly other people around who saw it in your age group.
Yes.
That were in school with you then.
Yeah.
May have seen something that night as well.
Yeah. And as Rick or Terry, and I don't know the names, you know, I said, man, I've talked about everyone in my class, you know, and no one saw anything like that. But Rick or Terry, or both of them, had found one or two others that said they saw a light doing that weird stuff out east of town, you know. So, now, you know, when you see a light out east of town, and it went quite a ways, and, you know, it could have been a mile out there, it could have been 20 miles, depending on, you know, all we could see was the light. And so, but I say there's a very good chance it was up there in the Big Brutus area, and because it went quite a ways north up in that area, and like I say, it was putting a show on for us all there in the eastern sky.
Didn't you say that you went home and woke up your parents?
Oh yeah, I told my mom and dad, and I know Rick went home. Obviously, he told Robert, you know.
Because that's the first words out of his mouth. That's all he says.
Yeah. Well, it was. You know, I had seen lights, and I heard people talking about UFOs, you know, and I saw lights do weird things, you know, but I never saw anything do stuff like this.
I went online to look up, it's called Hynek scale, and it gives a description of close encounters.
Oh, okay.
Okay, close encounters of the first kind. Here's a criteria it has to meet.
Okay.
Visual sightings of an unidentified flying object seemingly less than 500 feet. Do you qualify for that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
That show an appreciable angular extension and considerable detail.
Yes,
That
yes.
fits you right to a T.
Yes.
Okay, close encounters of the second kind. A UFO event in which a physical effect is alleged. This can be interference in the functioning of a vehicle or electronic device, animals reacting, a physiological effect such as a paralysis or heat, and discomfort in the witness, or some physical trace like impressions in the ground, scorched, I guess it's going to be scorched earth or something like that.
Yeah.
Scorched or otherwise affected vegetation or chemical trace.
Yeah, now...
Well, would that fit that?
No, for us, because even though I'd say that thing was 50 foot up there, the car was off, we did not hear a sound.
Yeah.
There was not a hum.
Well, making a long stretch, you know, being that fuse blew
Yeah,
just
yeah,
just a few miles that
yeah,
way.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And
I
it
mean,
was,
you could stretch and say maybe it was a close encounter of the second kind. Maybe not. I
Yeah.
don't know. It might have been coincidence. Who knows? You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, for us, Rick's car ran. I was thankful, you know, because I'd read some books, you know, and I'd heard that, you know, sometimes it robs electric and cars quit and lights go out and stuff like this. I was amazed. Everything on Rick's car worked perfect. We drove right under it, and I was calculating how fast that thing was coming down, if we were going to run into it or not. We got out under it, and yeah, like I said, I crawled in the back. I was looking up the back window, but Rick made a few turns and everything, and then I lost it, you know.
Was there enough light under it? If there were markings on it, you would have seen the markings, or?
I think so. I think, yeah, there was no markings on it that I could see. The recess lights didn't put out much, but that dome light was so that you could see the whole silhouette of the thing. It was triangular. Like I said, each corner was rounded, and about, I'm going to guess, a foot back from the rounded corner was a recessed light. Like I said, Rick and Terry said each light was different color. It wasn't, you know, like street lights. It wasn't so bright you could see red, yellow, green, or stuff like that. To me, they were just lights. So
do you think I mean, that's been 53, almost 53 years ago.
okay.
Do you think there's any chance that the places where you stood or anything like what they were like when you stood?
I think so. I've gone.
You still see out over the east end there from where you were standing?
I think around the Circle Drive, there's houses now, but the Circle Drive is identical to what it was then. I've gone by Terry's house. I mean, I'm a oh my goodness, what am I? I'm a leisure at work. I take guys on outings, and oftentimes we'll come to Oswego, we eat out, we'll go to the park, and so I have captive staff with me, so I always have to tell them my stories of Oswego, you know. And the UFO story is one of my share quite often, you know, and we go and we look at the spots, and so Terry's house is no longer there, and now the high school is a hunting lodge, I think, and but that Circle Drive is still there, and it has a pretty good view of
Okay, so now would you like to go on up there? We'll go ahead and get the car and go on up there.
We'll go up there and take a look. Right.
Okay.
Going up another block. This was the main drag to the park at the time.
Now, here we
Turn right.
Yeah, okay. Oh, there's a cop looking at me.
Oh.
What are you doing driving along taking pictures? You can't do that. You can't even talk on your phone or text or nothing. Taking pictures, that definitely ain't gonna
I'll let you explain all this. There's the old high school.
This is the old Oswego High School.
Yes. This building here used to be the shop. This, of course, was our gymnasium. For football practice, we'd come out that red door and we'd have to run down to the football field and run back after practice. Our favorite things to do.
Would you been playing football in '57?
Not 57.
Okay.
67.
So we're going to go all the way up here to the
Yeah,
park?
go on up here.
Right.
Terry Fisher, now, I think, his house is gone. Well, I think that's it. That's where he used to live then. So we were going to drop him off, but we saw the light, so we drove on past his place.
So this is what you call the old football stadium?
Yes, this is the old
Memorial
football.
Stadium?
Yeah.
And you weren't sure whether you were maybe back here or up in front of it? Huh?
Oh, the second time. The second time we saw, I would say we were in this vicinity. Yeah, we're still on the first time.
We're going around this way.
Turn right.
This is where I saw Rick for the last time.
Okay, yeah, in the community building?
Yeah.
Yes. And so we were going to turn left And we might have, but there were so many trees on the east side of the park that we came back and we went this way. So go straight up here.
Oh, because you couldn't see out over the...
Yeah, we wanted to see the lights out east. Now at that time they might have been building this. It probably was done at that time.
And what's this here?
This is the grade school. The new football field, yeah, it's over here. We played on that. Our first game was in 71.
Well, they went all out for the visitors, didn't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. well, there's not a whole lot of people probably come watch the Oswego games anymore.
No, it's not what it was in the glory days.
So I don't think any of these houses were built at that time. Some of the houses here on the right, Barnards, Viettis, some doctors.
So you called this Snob Hill, huh?
Yeah, we called it Snob Hill. Well, I should say some people did.
Yeah, oh yeah, you would. Yeah,
I wouldn't have, I'm sure. So yeah, this was just open, I think just mowed yards then. A little bit ahead here, you'll come to Circle Drive. I can't remember if, I think there's a light here now. Maybe not. I can't remember if there was a light back then or not. So we went around this drive, and I think for precaution, Rick pulled up over on that side and stopped. There wasn't anything here.
And there really wasn't as many trees then either, huh?
And well, if they were, if the trees were here, the light was high enough that we could see it.
Uh-huh.
We had a perfect view of that light, and I'm going to say those trees weren't, because we saw it go up north.
Uh-huh. So he was pointing in here, the other way is parked over here.
Yes, I'm thinking he parked right about here, turned the car off, and we all got out. And we watched that light, and it was east of us at that time still.
Uh-huh.
But then it rose up pretty high, about 45-degree angle, I'd say, from us, and then it went south. It just went in a straight line south of us.
So if you're watching this video, you can't tell by looking at this video now, but just past those trees, there's a big drop off.
Yes.
And for miles out there, you can see it's all lower than this spot.
Yes.
You
yes.
can see almost all the way to Columbus, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, a clear day, you can see it.
Yeah, you can probably see the elevator. Yeah.
And we're a good 25, 30 foot higher than the rest of that out there.
Oh, I'd say higher than that. I'd say we climbed that bluff on a rope, and the bluff's 150 foot. So we're pretty high here.
Okay.
So then that thing flew up, and about where that tree is, it just seemed to stop right up there.
Oh, so it was close. It's come over here close to you.
Well, it was way out there, we thought.
Oh, and
then it stopped, like right up there. And we're just sitting there looking at it and going, it stopped. But what we didn't know was it was flying just straight at us. But, you know, a flashlight coming straight at you at night, you've got no depth perception.
No.
You can't tell if it's 50 miles or 50 foot from you, you know.
This was your closest encounter
Yes,
right here?
Yes, it would have been right over the peak of that
You're talking
house.
about 50 feet or 100
Yeah,
feet?
it'd been, I'd say it was right above the peak of that house when it panned out flat over us.
Wow.
And yeah, almost, yeah, right, maybe a little farther to the east of that, but right, it was right there. And it just panned out flat, and I thought, oh my gosh, that thing's gonna land on us. Had no landing gear that I could see. It was, I'd say metallic, but wasn't real shiny metallic. It was, yeah.
middle grade. Like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it seemed to stop right there, and it was coming down, and so Rick took off. Like I said, man, I thought, boy, if he flew out in front of us, he'd have us blocked off. We'd be trapped, you know. Except I'm sure Rick would have drove.
And they were both seniors, and you were a junior.
I was a junior, yes, yes. That's why I was in the back seat.
Yeah, it's kind of together.
Now
I'm
you
just
got
happy
the
to hang
senior in
out
the
with-
back seat.
What's that?
I said, now you got the senior in the back seat.
Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah, yeah. Now we do, yeah.
All right, and then this was the first time you came up here, and that was your closest encounter
Yes.
to the
Yes.
craft right there.
Right. So we went
You
here.
hauled it on out of here. You were on the
Yeah,
run when you got out of here.
yeah. I mean, Rick was squealing tires going around this curve.
Get out of here.
And then he went back down that road to the highway by Vance's service station. But then he turned left. And then Terry goes, oh, no, don't leave town. And so we made a U-turn and we went right back through town, but we lost sight of it. So we zigzagged and went through town and drove around for a while, and we might ask some people then, did you see that light? And you know, they're like, we didn't see no light.
Approximately what time would this have been?
I'm guessing between 11 and 12 at night.
Okay.
Because we would hang out till sometime around there, and then I think we all had to be home by midnight, you know. But, so yeah,
And it was
yeah.
a basketball game, was it maybe a Friday night or not a...
Yeah, it was
not
a Friday
full
night. It was a Friday night before the weekend, because we didn't get together to talk about it until the following Monday.
Now we going up into the park now, then
You
went
can.
down there and then you went back in.
Yeah. Now, when we drove around for a while, we came back, and it might have been there we saw, or it might have been here. But before we got to the bluff, all of a sudden that thing just shot up, you know, about 30 degrees above us, you know, and there it was. And I don't know what we did, but Rick made another quick turn, and we were going back the other way, and we went by Terry's house again. Terry said, don't drop me off, don't drop me off.
And when you say that, you're saying that because he didn't want to attract the vehicle to his house.
Well, he didn't. He wanted to be with us. He wanted to be on the move. He didn't want to be stuck in his house.
Was he alone? Or?
Well, his I think he lived with his mom. He did not feel safe going to his house for some reason, whatever at that time. And I was like him. I was happy to be in the car moving, you know.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity to go, and Rick was driving pretty fast.
Now, has that tank been there that long?
Oh, no, no.
This was moved in later, huh?
Yeah. The shelter was here, and the merry-go-round, I'm sure, was here.
Okay.
We never did make it up this far. See, we were going to come here and look that way, but at that time, I think there was a lot of trees right along here. So Rick decided, well, let's go over. He just went over there.
I see. So you gotta...
Yeah, we thought we'd come here and have a good view of it, but for some reason, we ended up going over there to that Circle Drive.
Oh, this is where you came before you went to the Circle Drive, too.
We were headed this way. Now, yeah, for some reason we ended up there, and I don't know if we went here and decided that would be better. It might have been we came here, but we didn't want to block the road. So Rick said, we'll go over here and we won't be in anyone's way. There was a electric pump house down there at that time. Which might, you know, if it was going around tripping breakers, it might have had some interest. But as far as I know, Oswego wasn't out of any power.
So now this is Neosho River.
Yes. Yeah.
And,
You can get up on this lookout and you can see down there. Now you can't really see the pump house.
well, did they used to get water out of here?
Yes.
This used to be the water
Yes.
department was here?
Yes. And the electric for Oswego was,
There was a hydroelectric dam here?
no, it wasn't that, but yeah, they had some building somehow received electric or.
Used to catch some pretty big flatheads down here too.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, my dad used to come
Sort of
fishing
a
here.
relay house, not really a
Yeah,
production?
yeah, they didn't produce anything here.
Uh-huh.
So Sherman, it's got a tower, but I can't see that tower.
So we're looking north here, and
Yeah.
oh, now it says northeast. You're looking at Sherman, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see if I can get it on there.
And P&M was just south of Sherman. 2 or 3 miles, would you say, Carmen?
What's that?
P&M, it was just south of Sherman, 2 or 3 miles, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the drag line dug that. It wasn't Brutus.
Oh, okay, okay.
But that's where mine 19 was.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah,
was,
it was,
back before you got Brutus. It actually had been.
It might have been the same time. I don't remember for sure. But Brutus started about Hallowell, 2 or 3 miles northwest of Hallowell, dug over toward Lightning Creek, and then come back out and started heading toward West Mineral. Got to West Mineral in 11 years.
So yeah,
What's this structure do north here?
those are silos,
Okay.
old farm. There's a levee all around that, and that used to never flood, but it used to be a house there, but I had a friend living there, and then the house got flooded 2 or 3 times, and they left it. So
River's actually pretty low, isn't it?
it
The way,
is pretty low.
the way it's flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 seems to be a magic number. You can get flooded once, you'll stay, and twice, well, you'll stay. Third time, everybody.
That's enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any close encounter with the UFO in this area?
Other than, yeah, when we were coming, it came up somewhere from this area.
Okay. So it could have been down in the.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure.
I think
it
that's where I
probably
got
was.
Rick.
Yeah. I mean-
thought he said it come out of the riverbed.
Yeah.
You were viewing over the bluff and hear this thing come up.
Yeah.
Or something.
So we were speculating maybe it went north. So we were driving up. Like I said, we might have been south of the football field, but somewhere, and we might have been coming down this road. But then all of a sudden, it just shot up. Not extremely fast, but
Yeah.
I mean, fast enough that it was here in no time above us, and we didn't want to go under it again. So,
So it had you pretty scared.
oh
You
yeah,
boys
yeah.
were-
I'd
you
say
boys were
we
upset about
were
this.
pretty pumped. Yeah, yeah. We were all jabbering pretty good. Terry was in the front seat, and so he was pretty persuasive to Rick where to go, where not to go, and Rick was pretty receptive, So don't go
What
this
car were
way.
you in?
It's 56 Chevy, light blue, white. Yeah, it
Two-tone, one of the two-tone.
yeah,
Chevys?
yeah. It's pretty nice car. Rick was very proud of it. So we were happy to go riding with him, So Rick was one of those guys that everybody was his friend,
Yeah.
He just everyone liked him, and
Yeah, Bob was easy going too. He
Yeah.
was,
yeah.
Bob
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah. Bob was intimidating to me.
Was he?
But when I was young.
Yeah.
But as I got older and as I got better, he really liked me because he
Yeah.
knew I was pushing Rick.
Yeah.
And
Did
oh,
you guys ever get a shot at playing any kind of pro ball or anything beyond just high
we
school?
both, he went to Emporia, I went to Missouri Southern. We went to a tryout camp. And I had a knuckle curve that was pretty good. I had a real good fastball, so we went to a Detroit Tiger camp, a tryout camp up at Emporia. And each pitcher was allowed an inning to pitch. And so they set up a game situation. And my inning, when I got to pitch, I was going against their center fielder they're really excited about. And so I knew he was a pretty good hitter. And so I thought, all right, I'm going to get tested right off. So I gave him my fastball, and he took a strike, and that didn't prove anything, And so the catcher called for the curve, and I went to the knuckle curve. Well, the knuckle curve, I was blessed. I was playing burnout with Joel one night. We were just beating each other up, throwing as hard as we could. And I'd been working on a knuckleball, I call it. So I threw that knuckleball, and Joel stuck his glove here and hit him in the ankle. Oh, wow, you know, and he hopped around. He said, what was that? I said, wow, that was my knuckleball. He said, oh my gosh.
Was you over 100 mile an hour?
Oh, you know, we didn't have radar guns
Yeah.
in. When I went to Missouri Southern, I worked out with Steve Luber, who was pitching for the Minnesota Twins. And I was a walk-on. Going off another story. I was a walk-on. There was 30 of us, and they had one opening position. And only one of us could get it. Well, Steve Luber would work with us, and I was throwing as hard as I could. And Steve said, look, you throw fast enough. Well, we got to work on your control. We got to get you a change of pace, you know. I said, all right, you know. So Steve liked my fastball. Steve picked me for the opening position, and I was one of 2 relief pitchers, which I loved that, you know. They'd only bring me in when they were in trouble. And I came in one game. We were down 6-1 in the first inning. We lost in the 7th. I gave up 1 run in the 7th. I lost 7-6. So you know, that's the life.
Now, what happened there? You had this guy
Oh.
down 1 strike, and then you threw your...
Yeah. So we're at the tryout camp. This is their center fielder, real good hitter. So I called the knuckle curve, and I could never throw that with 2 strikes on a batter because invariably half time it was going to hit the dirt and go under the catcher. But he called, and so I threw that knuckle curve. This batter took a level swing about here. The ball hit the dirt, went under the catcher. And the scouts stopped the game, time out. And they came out there with Robert, was sitting with Rick. He says, I don't think we're going to take Bobby home. And they talked to me, asked me what it was, had me show him, and talked to me a little bit. But basically, don't call us, we'll call you kind of thing, you know. And well, I went to Missouri Southern. There were some scouts over there, and they would talk to me. But I hurt my arm, and
Yeah.
being a poor kid, didn't
Had
go
to
to
get a
doctor.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had fun
They
with
didn't have
it.
Tommy John surgery then, huh?
You know,
Every kid gets it now.
yeah,
They
yeah,
all get it.
yeah. I bought some videotapes from Major League pitchers that taught how to pitch more correctly. Back then, we'd face, you know, and go like this. This guy would teach you just stay sideways and just pitch
But you
straight
like
from
pitching
there.
From the stretch.
Yeah, from the
There's
stretch.
guys that pitch from the stretch all the time.
Yeah, and that's what this guy taught to save your shoulder. You know, was don't do all that twisting around, but just stay square and boom. You know, and so
anyway, so you had a couple trials. You tried out at the university, pitched there a little bit, and pitched at the trial, but that was it. You never got.
yeah, we went to
him.
Emporia for our tryout camp for a Detroit Tiger tryout camp. And then I was a walk-on at Missouri Southern, made the team. Steve Luber was he was real excited about me, and yeah, I had a good time until I wrecked my arm. I was a poor farm kid going to Joplin, and boy, when it was tough for me fitting in on the team full of Joplin kids and St. Louis kids and city kids, you know, and I was kind of an odd fish there. But
There's a lot to getting in the pros. A lot of luck, a lot of
yeah,
being in the right place at the right time. And,
yeah.
and a lot of talent.
Right now, I have a little catch in my left shoulder. I'm taking physical therapy, and it was just the same thing I had in my right shoulder. But now, they think 3 sessions, and I've neglected a muscle, and that muscle's got inflamed, and I'm sure that's all that was, because obviously I didn't have a torn rotator cuff, you know, and as I quit pitching and 2 or 3 years, now I lost all my speed. My speed, dropped dramatically, so But I watch all the old movies, you know, where someone comes back and, you know, becomes a major league player after a time, you know.
Yeah, a big splotch of blood on the sock, or the
Little
blood on the shirt there. Something like that.
Yeah. So
I love all those baseball movies.
Oh yes.
And watch old Schilling pitch with blood on his sock.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Yes.
I've been to a lot of major league games and a lot of major league parties.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Been a Dodger fan since I was 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
When they came to LA in 1958. I'm in Little League. Just started Little League. 8
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. I fell in love with the Yankees because they had Mickey Mantle. And Rick's dad was a Cardinal fan, so Rick was a Cardinal fan. And so in '64, Yankees and the Cardinals in the World Series, and
Yeah.
I was hooked.
Yeah, baseball. Baseball will do it.
Yeah.
So anything else about the UFO you saw here that
Yeah, yeah. Like I said,
pretty much just scared the bejeebers out of you?
yeah,
boys?
yeah. It didn't. Like I said, we didn't notice any temperature change, any sound. It just blew me away because how something that big, that close above us, without making a sound? You know, it just. I had no explanation. You know, so if the government was working on something secret, it was pretty amazing.
There's, yeah.
Like I said, one time we saw it and it was here, and then it was just like a lightning streak and it was there, just that fast. And we go, my, and that got us all jabbering, you know.
Did it ever disappear when you were looking at it? Some of them talk about them disappearing, you know, and then reappearing and stuff like that.
It might have disappeared point A to point B that one time, but to me it was more like a lightning streak.
Yeah.
You know, I would say it just was a blur and it was there. All the other time, and I don't know how fast it was going because I don't know how far away it was, but it was going along, and it appeared to be flying like a plane when it was level. But then it'd just do this, and you know, no helicopter. You know, a helicopter,
Yeah.
it'll,
Something.
yeah, have a glide or you know, a rate of incline, you know, that you can see. But
Come on,
this,
Carmen, you got anything else?
That's about it.
You got no questions for the boy?
Well, might
The
may
boy.
think of
I
some
haven't
on the
thought of boy a
road.
lot.
Yeah.
Boy,
Been a long time since
it's
boy
been
going
real great, I'll tell you. So
Oh, well.
this is what we was hoping for when I
Well,
give him the
yeah.
interview. He wanted to interview me about the mine or something. I said, I got to tell you this story about a friend of mine's son. You know, that's
Yeah,
the biggest story I can tell you. You know.
yeah.
I was a believer anyway. So.
Well, Daniel, sorry, Daniel, if you see this, told me not to tell anyone. He called me up and said, Bob, or he left a note, hey, give me a call. And I was busy all day. That was last Saturday. And so I said, so Daniel, what is? Oh, Bob, I got a silly question to ask you. Have you ever seen a UFO? I said, yeah, I have.
Bingo.
Yeah, he goes, tell me about it. Well, back in high school, me and Rick, oh my gosh, he said, I got a video you need to watch. I said, what? Yeah, you just got to watch it, you know. And said, did you ever tell me about this before? I said, oh, Rick, Daniel, I said, I know I have, but, you know, I tell so many stories. I don't expect you to keep up on all my stories, you know. But Daniel was kind of yeah. So he was the one that led me to the video. And so then I know, well, now what do I do? So I put a comment, how do I get in touch with you guys, you know? Yeah. But that was quite a while ago.
Did you leave a comment on the video
Yeah.
on YouTube? I'll have to look back. I don't recall anything.
Okay, now let me take that back. He sent it to me.
You made a comment to him.
Probably, maybe it was a comment. Well, you know, on the video it says comments.
Yeah.
And I made a comment. But maybe that wasn't.
I'll look at it because it comes up on my stuff. You know.
Okay.
I have a good internet connection. I can get it.
Okay.
But I don't get many comments. Truth is, because I don't ask for likes, shares, and comments, and I don't ask questions
Yeah.
for people to answer in the comments. There's all these tricks they use to get you to like, share, and
Yeah.
subscribe.
Yeah.
And I've decided I'm too good for that. I'm not going to ask them for nothing. I just put it up there. If they like it, they'll like it. If
There
they
you
want
go.
to subscribe, they'll subscribe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And if they don't, well,
Yeah. There's plenty others. Yeah. Yeah.
no, I really feel like I'm building a catalog of videos that that over time, some of them are going to catch on, and some of them are going to strike a chord.
Going to have
with
some
somebody.
historic value.
Yeah, and have some value, and they're there, and I put them up there, and I've got them in several places. Plus, I've saved them at home on my own. And
Yeah.
you know, if there's if there's anything to them, you know, well, they're there anyway. I just feel like it's important to capture some of these things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Especially
you
some
certainly.
of the old folks around that know the history of the area.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah.
I've talked to Ken Irvin over at, but it's been 3 years ago. He was like 97. I think he's pushing 100 now.
Oh my. Yeah.
You know, but I got over there when he was still good, moving around, talking good. And you
Yeah.
know who Ken? You know Ken because you're in Parsons.
Who's this?
Ken Irvin.
Ken Irvin. I heard him. I don't
He
really know
runs
him.
the Historical Society, the
Okay.
Iron Horse
Yeah.
Museum, and the Arboretum.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's still, I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He used
yeah.
to have I think it'd be on the west side, it's at 16th and Main. There's he used to have an auto shop there, and his dad had an auto shop.
Okay.
And they did glass, and they did a lot of different kinds of things.
Yeah. 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 Well, I grew up in Oswego, and you know, we had a doctor who bought I don't know how many acres, and we called it Burgess Woods, and he'd build a tree house. He'd cut a tree down over a stream bed,
You gonna have a seat, Carmen?
Yeah. I'm
and
sure.
he'd tie a rope up there, and we'd go out there, and there'd be a stick on this rope, and we'd go out there and stand on that and try to push each other off into the water. There's an old Indian trail over here. A year and a half ago, I had COVID, and my boys had COVID, and so I wasn't doing too bad. They weren't doing too bad. I said, "Well, guys, let's get together. We'll have a COVID party. we can't see anyone else.
But we can see each other.
Yeah, we can go hang out with each other." So my youngest son, I said, "I've never shown you the old Indian trail," and so we came out here and we went down the Indian trail. Like I said, probably a year and a half ago, February, or it'll be 2 years this past February. And
Anybody find any arrowheads around here?
my dad, he found so many arrowheads. He had 2 cigar boxes when he was a kid of arrowheads down off that trail. And then across the river, there's a field they plow up now, and people found a lot of arrowheads over there. So the
Well,
Indians
this would be
were
an
very,
ideal
very-
campsite, wouldn't it?
Yeah, they were very thick around here at this time. And I don't know if they lived up here in the park area, but they had a good rock trail that went down to the river there. And
Well, I like Oswego. My mom's from Oswego,
oh, okay.
and my grandmother was here. My great grandfather lived here. David Alexander Rogers. He's buried out at the cemetery.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Jeanette Forrest and Charlie Parker. She was married to George Homer Forrest, and they divorced after he got sent to prison for child molestation.
Oh, uh-huh.
And but even when he got out, she wouldn't have nothing to do with him. She married Charlie Parker. She was sued by Parker's wife for alienation of affections.
Oh,
And he had to pay alimony to her for a while.
oh my.
And they were in the insurance. Her first husband, my grandfather, and her were in the insurance and real estate business
Okay.
here in
Okay.
the 20s.
Okay.
And
Okay.
my mom was born here in the early 20s, and she
Okay.
married my dad. She met my dad in Parsons. My dad was from Weir. They
Okay.
moved to San Diego. I was born out there in
Oh.
1950. I
Okay.
told you I went to the Dodger games. He was
Yeah.
working for Ryan Aircraft in Torrance, California, industrial relations manager.
Okay.
And he got good tickets. And when I was at the Coliseum watching games, I was right behind home plate, just 20 feet up in the air, the way they had it configured.
Uh-huh.
The front row, I was 20 feet up in the air, looking right down over where the players walked in and out. And Johnny Roseborough was right there, the closest player to me on the Dodgers, was the catcher.
Yeah. Yeah. Black guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Johnny Roseborough was
Yeah.
my favorite player.
Yeah.
And I just remember them guys and how big they were, and the Milwaukee Braves, and the
Yeah.
and the Cincinnati Reds, those gray uniforms. I'd come in there and saw a doubleheader one day, and I said, "You mean we get to see 2 games?"
Oh boy. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was. Yeah. So I'm. So as soon as the Dodgers came to Los Angeles, anyway, I was a big Dodger fan.
Yeah.
I went all through, played Little League, played Babe Ruth.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
pretty much I was terrible, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it. So, and I played softball as a grown man.
As what?
Slow
as a
pitch
grown man.
softball. Played slow pitch softball
Yeah.
as a grown man in Long Beach, California. I was on
Okay.
I was in a league. We had like 12 teams, and we round robins around town on the different fields. Every
Yeah.
Monday morning at 9 o'clock we'd get there. Game would start at 10, I think, and we'd play 9 regulation innings, and we played regular rules. It was none of this Muni League rules where you saw if so many foul balls you were out. You get all
Yeah.
the foul balls
Yeah.
you wanted, and,
Yeah.
and you could. And we played till the game was over. We didn't end at 7 innings. We played till the game was over.
Yeah.
We played extra innings. We played extra innings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And we did the whole thing. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that time playing
Yeah.
softball.
Yeah. 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 I ended up doing a lot of that. And
I pitched slow pitch softball for.
oh, okay.
that time.
Okay.
There's not much to it. It was like that high arc thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thing underneath it, try and hit the plate and a mat behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I had a great time.
I wasn't ever really fast, so I played a lot of infield. I
Yeah,
did play
yeah,
some outfield, but I like third base or
I
first.
caught and played and pitched. And,
Okay.
I played some first and second, but I had no speed.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
of my, you've got these. You can look back now and remember a few of them great plays you made. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I got a few of those.
Yes. Yes.
I've been
Yeah.
involved just about. I even got. One time I got hit by a batted ball. You know, everything happened to me at least once. I've
Yeah.
been in every kind of situation at
Yeah.
least once.
Yeah.
I was out because I just couldn't believe how a guy would get hit by a batted ball. You can get out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got hit.
Sometimes you can't. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Anyway, it's a great experience. Baseball's been very, very good to me. Just
Yes.
Like Chico.
Yes.
Just like
Yes.
Chico, baseball's been very good to me.
Yes. Yes.
How
I
big?
tried-
How big is Oswego?
Oh goodness. You know, I'm not sure.
Is it pretty well stable through the years, or?
Yeah, it might be a little less than when I went to school here, but there's no big industry here. You
Yeah,
know.
they used to have Coons custom coats
Yeah,
years ago
Coons.
with.
Ajax Atlas. I was
Yeah.
a draftsman for them for 5 years,
Wow.
but then they shut the door. And,
Yeah.
When my mom was a kid, Kraft Cheese was still down there
Yes,
at the end of Illinois.
that's-
She lived on Illinois, and just down at the end of Illinois was that Kraft Cheese.
my dad worked there. I loved the green cheese, they called it. I'm colorblind.
Yeah.
They told me it was green. But there was a stage, it had these big vats, and he'd run those mixers through it, and Dad'd go with a big old salt shaker, and he said, let mix up here for 5 or so minutes, and then he'd pull out chunks of cheese, squeaky green cheese. Boy, he'd chew, oh, that tastes so good. I loved it, you know.
Clarence Washburn worked there. I don't know whether you knew him or not.
Clarence
He
Washburn.
came to P&M. I forget what year. I think he'd been an electrician there or something at the cheese factory.
Okay, yeah.
There was another guy I worked with from Oswego, Dean Graham. Did this 100 years ago. You probably know.
Okay, yeah, I don't know him. Bob Allison used to drive a truck and bring milk in for him.
Yeah.
So now you're working where?
I'm at the state hospital now in Parsons. Leisure activity specialist.
State Hospital. Now that's not the old Katy Hospital.
No, this is the state hospital. It's where we have handicap, mental handicap.
What's the address on that? Where?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't have my phone with me.
It's all right.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
My mom worked at the Katy Hospital when
Yeah.
it was an epileptic ward.
Oh,
And she
okay.
worked with the
Well,
epileptics.
this used to be the epileptic hospital.
Well, isn't that the old Katy Hospital up there in the middle of Crawford, north of Crawford out there?
Okay, there's, but this is a mild circle full of lots of buildings.
Oh, and is it right in town?
Just on the northwest side of town, yeah. The Parsons State Hospital. It'd be easy to find. Yeah,
And it's a mental hospital now?
yeah. So I work on the cottage. I'm, my official title, Leisure Activity Specialist. I come to work and I say, who's been naughty, who's been nice? The good guys, I take to town. The bad guys, if they need to, I'll put them on the floor. 69 years old, I'm still one of the alpha males up there. So they come in there. We have one honorary guy come in there, and he's caused trouble everywhere he went. The last place he came is here, and I said, I'm going to tell you the truth. everyone's going to tell you they don't like to restrain you or protective holds now, but it's like this. If you need it, I'm glad to do it. And so within 10 minutes, I had him in on the floor. Welcome, Dash. But I get along real well. They understand me.
Well, that's a tough job for a man. I mean, you say you're 69 years old. You don't have to wrestle these guys anymore, do you?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, we have an 18-year-old. He's 6'3". He outweigh. I'm weigh 235. He's probably 250, 260. I went in there. Security was in there at night, and he's just giving him the dickens. And I walked in and said, "What's going on?" And they're telling what he's doing. He's busting the lights out. I said, "No, we can't do that." Walked up there, bam! He hit me, knocked me back about 3 steps. "Oh, Bob." I said, "We don't do that around." And the next time we went like this, boom! He's on the floor.
Have you taken any combat training of any
Oh,
kind yet?
no. They teach us how to do proper holds.
Did you have a brother when you were growing up?
Oh, yes.
You know, I noticed that guys that have brothers. I had a brother that was just a year older than me. We wrestled. We fought.
Yeah.
And guys that had a brother when they were young growing up know how to handle people.
Yeah.
I says, I'm not gonna kick your ass. I'm not gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
But I can tell you something. You're not gonna kick mine.
Yeah.
Because I've had a guy.
You had a brother. Yeah.
I had a brother who
Yeah.
taught me how not to get beat up.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, my brother was 8 years younger than me. So anyway,
All right. I think we're good, huh? We got everything.
I think that's about all I know. So.
Okay, well that was good. I appreciate it, and I won't use most of this, but I'll use what I can. And thank you, Carmen.
All righty.